Okay. All right. Hey, good evening, everybody. My name is Mac McCowan. I'd like to welcome all of those of you in attendance this evening, and also welcome those of you that are watching us via live stream. This event was planned and is being executed just by a bunch of grassroots citizens, just like myself. It's our own money, everything we're doing internally, because we don't want the government involved, basically. Okay? So, we cherish our God-given inalienable rights and our freedoms enshrined in our founding documents, and so we realized a couple of years ago we got to get more involved and take charge of our own liberty. Okay, so thank you for attending. I want to thank Commissioner Mike Steben and candidate Brad Knoll for attending. Your participation ensures all these citizens can make an informed vote on August 2nd or get clarification from you guys individually on their stances at the conclusion of this event. If you would please rise and recite the Pledge of Allegiance with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now I'm going to have Mr. Paul Cromer come forward and give the the invocation for tonight's activities.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Heavenly Father, we just come to you. We humble ourselves before your greatness. You're the creator of the universe, and we just give you honor and praise. Father, we just ask that you would just wake your people up. Give us visions. Give the old men visions. Give the young men dreams, Father.
Amen.
Put a backbone of iron in our backs so that we can stand up and bring this country back to you, Father. That's the only way. It's through your Son, Jesus. That's the only way, Father, and we just give you honor and praise, and we thank you for sending him here for us. We just give you honor and praise. I would just ask that everyone's ears be open tonight to hear these two men. Father, your will be done tonight. Let's just have a good time and just bring you honor and glory, Father. In the name of your Son we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, my last thank you and introduction is for our moderator, because we've had, this is our 5th event we've done, and we've had the same moderator every event because he does such a great job. He had something unexpected happen today, and so I called Mr. Bill Bentley, and he accepted this gig on about 5 hours notice because he knows it's important. So, Bill, thanks for volunteering on such short notice. I'm just going to turn it over to you, and let's get started. Thank you.
We'll give 4 minutes to each of the candidates for introduction and anything they'd like to say. Then we'll have questions that were arranged by the committee. And then we'll take additional questions if we have time from the audience that I have here in the cards. And then we'll give you 3 minutes for each. So, Commissioner Steiber, do you want to go for it?
Stephen. Good evening. My name is Mike Steben. I've been your commissioner since 2019, special election, when the commission was changed from 3 members to 5 members. Ran in a convention of the Republican Party and was nominated, and then ran for election against 3 other candidates. Was elected, then I was re-elected to a 2-year term, and now this time I'm seeking this will be a full term if I am elected. I am been a locomotive engineer for BNSF Railroad for 26 years and am still currently working at the railroad. I did get permission from them to take this position, and they allowed me to have the opportunity to serve. They encourage their employees to be in government service, so they have been very cooperative with that. I was the chairman of Rural Water District 13 prior to being elected. I've been a precinct committee man. I've served as the Sherman Township clerk, and I've been a substitute teacher at Tonganoxie Public Schools, and I also been a licensed real estate agent. So these are some of the hats that I've worn. But when I first ran for this position, there was it was right after the Tyson debacle had happened, and there had been a lack of communication. And I ran on these 3 issues that I have continued to run on, and lowering property taxes, economic development, and transparency and efficiency. I made it my goal to try to make government transparent and open to the citizens of the 5th District. I've conducted multiple town hall meetings. I've had many articles in the newspaper. I have just a few of those here to show you that we've reflected on different things the County Commission has done over time, trying to educate folks on what the role of a county commissioner is. And after the meeting, if you want to look at some of these, you're welcome to do that. But one thing we, in these 3 years that I have discovered, that is very difficult to turn the ship of state or the ship of even the local government. It's like turning the Titanic. You have to try to move the ball down the court as much as you can. I have consistently fought to lower property taxes. We've lowered the mill levy slightly 2 of the last 3 years. I've fought for even lower reductions in the mill levy. But what we've came to understand through all these processes is that the county government runs up against what this system is that we have in Kansas, which is the evaluation system where we use comparable property values, market values. And what that's doing in Northeast Kansas is driving the values up, and then your value goes up. You may be planning to live in your property for 20 or 30 years, but your value is now much higher, and then your assessed value goes up, your taxes go up. So we are pushing to try, and I mean the commission as a whole, we're really focusing on asking our legislators to prevent these property tax spikes, and it's going to have to be changed on the legislative level in Topeka. But we've got a lot of issues to discuss tonight, but I do want to let you know that I think we're moving in the right direction. I've been a conservative voice on the commission, and I believe that we're headed in the right direction, and I want to be allowed to continue that.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Brad Nolan, like I said. I'm sure everybody's well aware of that by now for the last couple of months. My wife and I have been married for 32 years. We have 2 kids, 2 grandkids, and 1 little foster child. I'm a former paramedic from Leavenworth County, also a volunteer firefighter, was at East and Alexandria Township. And I was elected to as the director of the Kansas Livestock Association here in Leavenworth County, and served on the board of the Leavenworth County Beef Improvement Association. I was an ag loan officer for 5 years, ran an auction company for 10 years, and a farm business for the last 32. And I'm a conservative, and because I'm a conservative is the reason why I'm running. Results matter, and I know how the state system works, but there are more things that the county can do. Leavenworth County so far in the past 4 years, all the taxes have gone up, and the mill levy, a quarter of a drop in mill levy does it. That's just we're not raising your taxes as much as we could. We have bigger government, more bureaucracy, and more regulation. That's what we've had in the last 4 years. To keep going that direction, that has been the plan. Right now is to keep doing what they're doing. From the comp plan to, raising taxes higher. They have a meeting coming up pretty soon on that. So the choice, this isn't Mike or I. This is between a plan that we've seen for the last 4 years, it hasn't worked, or a new plan that I believe they can stabilize the taxes and bring in a consensus in the 5th district. And that's pretty much, it's a choice between what we've seen or something new by using the largest industry in the 5th district, the infrastructure that's already here. And that's what I have to say.
Thank you. I've got another dozen questions here from the committee, and what I'd like to do is start with Commissioner Stephen.
Yeah.
And Commissioner Stephen, and we'll alternate the questions back and forth.
Okay.
Each have 2 minutes, and we'll go from there. Mr. Stephen, how can the county commission better promote economic development in the county?
The county commission actually has been proactive on the economic development front. We appointed a task force that Commissioner Michael Smith and I were a member of, and we were concerned, when I got on the county commission 3 years ago, we were concerned that we weren't getting our money's worth, and we were not getting communication from the economic development entities. And we were concerned that we didn't have an economic development plan. We formed a task force, we met with the folks, and we told them we really want a plan, sort of like the land use plan here that we have for using land in the county. We want to have an economic development plan that is very similar to this. We did not get the response that we wanted from them, so what we did was we took, of their $280,000, we reduced their budget by $160,000. We brought on our own economic development professional, Tom Cole, and we tasked him with developing this plan for the county to get all of the cities, Leavenworth, Lansing, Spacer, Tonganoxie, on board and heading in the same direction on economic development, where we haven't had that in the past. Many times in the past, what we've seen is Leavenworth wants a road project, Tonganoxie wants a different road project. They're asking KDOT for these things, and it ends up going to Johnson County. If we get all of the cities and the county on board headed in the same direction, then we can feel that we will have one voice, and we can actually be working together and get the economic development that we have. Is that 30 seconds or 15 seconds? And there's a lot more to it, but I'll use my 15 seconds to say thank you to we the people for having this forum. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Could you repeat the question?
Sure. How can the county commission better promote economic development in the county?
Well, what they've done is there was an opportunity that they could have had one entity, their own, and instead now there's pretty much 3. There's LCDC, there's Port Authority, and their owner. So now government's bigger, and all them things have to talk, and then their plan, they're gonna, with those 3 trying to talk, now they're trying to get all the cities together on a county plan. And we just need one entity to deal with, and that's the counties. We don't need the LCDC and the Port Authority. We can do it with the one guy that they already hired. Eliminate some of the funding for those entities. Economic development isn't just, it's also, what the commissioners can do out in the community too. Helping organizations get started that can facilitate more businesses that are already here, helping the businesses that are already here. If we're gonna give abatements, well, let's start with the ones that have been here already invested. Build the economy from the ground up. That's what I believe.
Thank you. Ms. McCollum, we'll get the next question first. What do you see as a major issue or issues facing District 5 and Leavenworth County?
Mayor, taxes.
Hey, Bill, I hate to interrupt. They can't hear your questions in the back.
Oh, okay. I'll try to speak up. So the question is, what do you see as a major issue or issues facing District 5 and Leavenworth County?
From what I've heard from people, the businesses out in the county have a hard time with the county. They make it to where the operator to get a special use permits from and commercial development, the commercial tag you get placed on from the appraiser's office, taxes. That's, is a big issue. Special use permits and the requirement, what you need for a special use permit, and what you are doing that requires the special use permit. There are things that you can do on your land that the county says that you need a use permit when state statute says you don't. So these are huge issues in the county.
Can you repeat that question again?
Yeah. What do you see as a major issue or issues facing District 5 and Leavenworth County?
Well, I think there's several issues: property taxes, roads. I think the new Apex down there, the Panasonic plant, is going to be an issue for southern Leavenworth County. And I think these are all issues we're going to have to face. Let me say one thing. It was mentioned about abatement. In the 3 years I've been on the commission, the Leavenworth County Commission has abated 0 taxes as an incentive to bring business into the county. 0. The city of Leavenworth, or the city of Tonganoxie, offered abatements. We have offered 0. We have a policy which our new economic development administrator set up, but we are very cautious about that. It would have to be a fantastic, fabulous business that would bring in huge benefits that we could quantify before we would ever offer an economic incentive. That's not been done. The other thing is expansion of government. When we hired our economic development administrator, it's not about expansion of government, because we just took money away that had already been spent. We took away from the economic development entities, LCDC and Port Authority. We redistributed the money so that we, as the county commissioners, could have accountability to you, so that these board members can be accountable. When we develop a policy, they will be accountable directly to the commissioners. And then the other part of that is we want the economic development entities to provide the leadership from the county. The county's the leader, and the rest of the entities follow. And each of those entities has a specific thing that they can do. Port Authority has certain things that they're allowed to do under statute that are protected and are necessary, and it is important that we keep it. LCDC is a nonprofit corporation, and they have certain things they can do involving non-disclosures and other agreements that other parts of the economic development entities cannot do. So we need to have all of these economic development entities as one engine driving economic development.
Commissioner, you get the next question. What do you think is the most troublesome example of government overreach you have witnessed in the county over the last 2 years? Please explain.
Well, absolutely, and this goes with the organization that we have here, We the People. When our governor tried to make us close churches and schools and decided she was going to leave abortion clinics and casinos open, that's the biggest government overreach I've ever seen in my life. And your county commissioners, we stood up against that. We stood up and we said, no, we're not going to do your mask mandate. We did it 3 times. And I will tell you, this governor, in my opinion, the absolute worst governor we've ever had in Kansas. Because what she did was she would wait till there was a holiday coming up, and then she would issue her edict, so that she thought local governments and commissions, we couldn't do anything about it. But guess what? We had special meetings, and we stopped her. The second thing is, I helped the We the People organization. April and I, we drafted mask mandate overturning ordinances. And we worked together on that. And I issued letters to schools, letting them know that the school district has the authority to make the decision on masks, not the county, not the state. It's a school district under home rule power, according to the Attorney General. We fought this. I'll tell you what, as your commissioner, I'm going to continue to fight for the Constitution. If you reelect me, that's what I stand for.
Repeat that again.
Sure. What do you think is the most troublesome example of government overreach you have witnessed in our county over the last 2 years? Please display.
I agree with most everything you just said on the mandates that were coming down. That was way overboard. But there's another one, and that is in the county with the special use permits and concerning agriculture. And there has been inconsistency, and where some places for doing an ag business are required to have and pay close to $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 in use permits, and others nothing. They don't. There's no consistency with it, and yet the county is requiring it. That's my answer.
Okay. Sure. Commissioner, let me ask this question of you. Were there any signs of voter fraud in Leavenworth County in the 2020 election?
Well, of course, you know that the county is, the county commissioners are not directly over the county clerk. The county clerk is a separate elected office. We are the election board of canvassers. And when I've seen the canvass, what's been happening at the canvass is that they take and randomly audit polling places in the county. They'll pull this precinct, and this precinct, and they'll do a hand count. And it has to compare to the machine count. And if it identically compares to the machine count, that means that the paper ballots match what the machine said. And it's random. So all of those audits that have been done have come out correct. We haven't had any evidence of it. Now, I am open to listening if there is evidence of any kind of a voter irregularity or fraud. That's my job as your commissioner. I'm on the board of canvassers. I will listen. You bring the evidence to me, we'll look at it. But I'm telling you, as far as I know, I don't believe there's been any voter fraud that I know of or that's been reported to me in Leavenworth County.
I haven't been in any official capacity to know those kind of things. I was looking forward to the answer myself.
Okay. All right, thank you. Next question. What would be the benefit of having the county health officer in an elected position versus appointed position? I'll go with you.
It's just for me to tell.
Okay.
What would be the
benefit of having the county health officer in an elected position as opposed to an appointed position?
I don't think that would be a good elected position, because as a paramedic, former paramedic, knowing what I know about that, it being in an appointed position, I think is the most appropriate.
I believe, and Representative Neal, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe there would have to be a change in state statute in order to make that an elected position. Now, there's probably pluses and minuses to make that an elected position. I think the reason you're asking that question, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, I think the reason we're asking that and even getting those kind of questions is because we've had health officers across the state that have overreached their authority. And I completely agree with that. And we have made our health officer issue recommendations, not mandates. And that was the county commission's position. After 2 weeks, we decided it's recommendations, it's not mandates. We're moving on from this issue. And everybody's got to be responsible to take care of personal responsibility. You got to take responsibility for yourself. You can't put it on your neighbors. And that's one of our problems in our country, I feel like, is we're not taking personal responsibility for our own actions.
The next question kind of goes along with that. What factors does the county commission consider when appointing the head of the Leavenworth County Health Department?
Is that me? Well, okay, we have the Leavenworth, we have Jamie, who's a EMS director and is our health officer, but Dr. McBrackney is actually you're required to have a medical doctor that is either your health officer or that consults. So what we have is Dr. McBrackney consults with our health officer, but I can tell you what really happens is that the CDC in Washington, D.C. issues edicts, and they come down to Topeka, and they issue edicts, and that comes to Leavenworth County, and they think they have to follow all those edicts and all your school districts, even though you go and you send them letters and you tell them, you have home rule authority. These little kids, when they get COVID, it's a runny nose, it's not amounting to anything, but they say, we got to put all these kids in masks, or we got to shut down all these schools, and that's coming from your federal government. That's exactly where that came from. And that's the kind of thing on the local level that we're going to try to fight. And I will tell you one thing, the county commission, and I authored it, we wrote a proclamation opposing the vaccine mandates on employers. And we adopted that on the county commission level, and we requested that they stop. Federal government, stop. State government, help us. We got to stop this. And that's what this was about. It's a fight for we the people, for the authority to take control of our own lives and live our own lives. And if I continue as your commissioner, I'm going to continue to fight for those values.
Let me ask just a follow-up question.
Sure.
Who selects the doctor? Is it the commission?
The commission.
Commission, okay. Do the doctors submit applications to you?
Since I've been on the commission, we've not changed the doctor in that position, but I'm sure there's a process,
Okay.
you know.
Mr. Knoll?
But just one more thing, he follows what that she, Dr. McBrackney, follows whatever the recommendations are coming down from Topeka. You know, I mean, they're not going to be that guy.
I remember that the county health department, it was separate from, it still is from EMS. But when Jamie got the job, in only going on 15 years since Jamie was put in that position as EMS director and the health department. There hasn't been really any changes since then on that.
Mr. Knoll, do you view the expansion of the Kansas City metropolitan area into District 5 as negative or positive? And please explain.
I don't look upon it as either a negative or a positive, but a fact. And how we take advantage of that is really the question. We're surrounded by 3 million people. That's just the way it is. We can turn our attention to becoming like Wyandotte or Johnson County, or we can concentrate on being a little different and taking advantages of what we already have, and some of what the county would look upon as a bad thing for tax reasons is that, you know, Stranger Creek runs through Leavenworth County in the 5th district, and there's a floodplain. You could never build in that ever. We do have very good land for agritourism and agriculture that can compete with the development. It can compete if we so choose to go that way. And this election is one of those choices. It's a time to choose. So that's what I have on that.
Okay.
Could you read it again?
Sure. Do you view the expansion of the Kansas City metropolitan area into District 5 as negative or positive? And then please explain.
I think that we are stuck with the fact that it's happening. But I will tell you that we have developed a plan, and that's this comprehensive plan. And the county has been proactive in this area to develop a plan. And what this plan does and what it calls for is trying to center or encourage the development in the county to be developed around the cities. Leavenworth, Lansing, Basehor, Tonganoxie. The high density housing and lower acreage areas are around the cities where you have services, sewer, water, electric, cable, internet. It's all available close to the cities. We've changed our policy on roads. If you develop outside of that area now and you want to put a subdivision in, now you've got to put your own roads in, private roads, cross-access easements they call them. We don't automatically bring your roads from your new subdivision into our system. You build them, you pay for them, and then if you want to eventually put them in our system, you've got to bring them up to county standards yourself. So we've changed some of those changes make it so we're discouraging really development away from where the cities are, and the development is encouraged to be near the cities. So I think that's some of the proactive things we've done, and I've got 30 seconds. I do want to respond to one thing that was said about agriculture tourism programs. I want to read from the Department of Commerce questions and answers, and it says, by being registered with the agritourism program, do I have to comply with county regulations? And the answer from the Department of Commerce is, yes, by becoming a registered member of the agritourism program, you must still follow and comply with county laws and regulations.
The next question has several parts to it, and I'll just ask each question and let you respond, and then go on to the next question before turning it over. So, Mr. Stephen, I'll get it. Home sales in the last year have been crazy. You have homes selling quickly, sometimes for $20,000 or $100,000 more than even the asking price. What do you see as a crazy reason for the crazy market and the higher than normal selling prices?
I think we live in a wonderful area to move to. I think we live in a great part of the state. People want to live here. This is a good place to raise a family. It's a good place it has values. This is a conservative community, and those are the things we stand for here. And I think people in some of the other communities are saying, wow, that's something I want. The only thing I fear is that they move here and they bring different values, and then we lose that distinctiveness. As far as the actual reason for the prices, I think the pandemic, coming out of the pandemic, has affected it. And I'm really giving you just conjecture. I don't actually know the actual answer to that question.
Okay, the next part of that is, this has led to, as you kind of alluded to in your opening statement, a larger assessment on the people because of increased property taxes. Do you feel that the county taxes right now are high high or low or just right?
The-
No, this is going to still.
Absolutely too high. I've been voting against the budget. Last 2 years, I voted against the budget. I voted against going above revenue neutral. I'm the only commissioner that's done that. I'm going to continue to fight. I'm fiscal conservative. I don't believe in what the direction of the county has been 100%. Now, do I think we actually could do revenue neutral? I'm not sure we could do revenue neutral, but could we do better than $250,000? Yeah, we could do better than $250,000. And under Senate Bill 13, you have to make a decision. You decide, am I going to open up the purse strings by voting to go above revenue neutral? Am I going to vote yes? And then that allows the commissioners to make any levy they wish. Or am I going to vote no, and that says I'm going to keep the purse strings and not allow that? So the last 2 years, I've decided that the way to go is to vote no. I would like to be able to vote for their budget. We had a meeting with all the communities, with Leavenworth, and we were setting up a meeting to meet with all the taxing entities in the county. And it was talked about with the meeting with the city of Leavenworth that we would look at a 3% reduction on the part of everybody, the schools, the cities, everybody. We talked about that. And we set the meeting up, and guess what? Not one school district decided to attend, and it turns out later on we found out that some of the conservative school board members, guess what? Think they were told about the meeting? Absolutely not. So there's a lot of things that are going to have to be done, but moving forward and having those kind of, if we would have actually got everybody on board with a 3% cut, you would have actually seen a little reduction in your property taxes. In my 15 seconds? So anyway, that's my answer.
Yeah. Okay. So with the crazy home prices and over the last year, the house is selling sometimes between 20 and 100,000 more than what the sellers even asked for. This has led to. What do you see for the reason for the crazy house prices? You have any idea?
Oh, some of it has been, in the economy, there's under inflationary times, that's too much money and not enough goods. So we do know that there's a housing shortage in the country, all across the country. That's part of it. Some of it has been the comp plan in the county here, and when it was before this commission that's in now, and some of the things that they could have done way back when the state system went in on when you're dealing with Keynesian economics, you're dealing with the fact that there are controls that our government can put in and to keep the big highs and the big lows. And when you don't put those controls in early on, eventually we have what we have here in Leavenworth County. Now, being for so long, that it's been going on for so long, the county can't put those controls on because it opens up for liability. So at this point, and then when you get the national, the MMT that they're following now with printing the money, it creates the inflation. Now there's a drive. Everything after COVID, people are wanting to get out and do things. So that's some of it.
So where do you see the county taxes right now?
They're the 5th highest in the state of Kansas. That's period. That's a fact. And you talk to them, and there's just nothing they can do, and it's everybody else's fault, and that isn't correct. There are things they can do.
The next question goes to you, Mr. Nall. Do you or will you commit to follow up on with the county citizen as a result of a comment submitted to the commissioners regarding an agenda issue?
Yes.
And how quickly will you respond?
That's pretty general, as quickly as I can possibly do it.
I think what we've tried to do, and I've encouraged, and we had a little bit of difference between the members of the commission. I think that at the commission meetings, we should have an open public comment at the beginning of the meeting. And I think the meeting, and the reason for that is folks are traveling from southern Leavenworth County up to Leavenworth. And right now, the way it's set up, if it's not on an agenda item, they have to sit through the entire commission meeting until they can have an open agenda public comment. And I voted against that, and I fought them on that, and that's something that I am going to continue to push that we change. But as far as I want the citizens involved, I've had multiple town hall meetings. Linwood, had it in Tonganoxie, had it at Springdale. I invite folks to come and talk to me. Now, do we always agree on every issue? No. And am I always right? No. But I'm doing my best to represent the folks in the 5th District. Now, that doesn't mean that we're always going to make the right decisions, but I can tell you the general direction of the county commission right now is very conservative and moving in that way. It's like I said, you can't turn the Titanic overnight. But I think some of these issues with the agritourism, farm wineries, all these things, I think if we get specifically more into those, I think we'll find out that we have been very supportive of agritourism. We have been very supportive of the local entities in our county that are ag related. And the county supports that. And I have supported that. I have 15 of them that we supported. And we will continue. But we will not, if I'm your commissioner, I will not support subsidizing or giving money to businesses. Will not do it. Thank you.
All right, that's the end of the questions from the committee. These are questions from the audience. So, Commissioner, this is first will be you. What will you do to increase transparency and accountability as an elected official?
Well, I think I just went through the rendition. I will continue to do the town hall meetings. I'll continue to write. I've written at least 20 articles. I have regular articles in the Tonganoxie Mirror. We do social media. I try to return phone calls. I do my best. And I'm trying to respond to the folks in the community. Now, like I said, the open town, I feel like the commissioners need to listen to the folks and let them talk. And my opinion is that 15-minute rule also on the public comment, no. If you have 100 people and they all want to speak for 3 or 5 minutes, you're paying me to be your commissioner. I'm going to listen to what the people of this community say. I think it should be open, and if I'm reelected in January, I will fight to see that those open public comments are changed.
Being available, answering phone calls back, emails, open forums, town halls are good, you know.
Do either of you, and this will be to you, Mr. Mel, first, do either of you plan to run for higher office?
No.
Not at this time.
Okay. So this is to you, Commissioner. Would you ever vote to impose a mask mandate on the public?
No.
Okay. Mr. Mel?
No.
First, can I say one follow-up on that?
Sure.
I don't think we have the legal authority under the Kansas statute. I think it's illegal. I think what they were doing was illegal, and I think there was if you really follow it up, I have a friend, his name, he's an attorney, and he told me, really, everybody had the right to a protest hearing. We didn't do it, but we all had the right. And we should have fought harder. And as your commissioner, I fought really hard, but if they ever try to do that again, I will fight even harder to stop it. And I think now our eyes are open, folks. We know what this federal government can do. We know what they can do, and we will fight against it.
At least if they think.
But they think, yeah, exactly.
All right, Commissioner, how do you feel about the 5-acre lots being reduced to 2.5 acres as an exception, i.e. rezoning in parts of established communities?
Well, we have this land use plan and this comprehensive plan, and we did not change the county zoning. Most of the eastern part of the county is zoned 2.5. Most of the western part of the county is zoned 5.0. Occasionally, and just like the SUP is a special use permit. It's a zoning type where we're going to make an exception and let you put a business in out in the county. Really, the folks in the county don't really want businesses out in the county, and we are really cutting back on the number of businesses. And I mean that we're trying to cut that back. But on this 2.5 and 5 acre zoning, we are looking at seeing each one of those has to be taken as an individual case, and it depends where it is. I did write a proposed policy that if you have large agricultural undeveloped land, that the planning commission should take into account the fact of those large acreages before they make a zoning decision. And I proposed that to the planning commission. It did not get adopted, but that is something that I think we need to look at. I do support trying to keep our rural communities rural. However, folks, let's look at what's happening. Apex is coming in. 4,000 jobs in DeSoto is coming in. South part of the county is going to be impacted. And we just need to make sure that we follow procedures and rules and regulations that make our county well-defined and make it nice development. And the other part of that is to make sure that everybody follows the rules. And one thing we did do in the last 2 years is we adopted building codes for most of the county that require for new construction, you have to come up to a minimum standard on your electrical, sewer, water, that kind of stuff. You have to meet minimum building codes.
Would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes.
Okay. How do you feel about 5 acre lots being reduced to 2.5 acres as an exception, i.e. like rezoning in parts of established communities?
Well, I've lived in the county all my life, and I've seen it when it used to be 40 acres, and then it dropped down to 10 acres, and then there for a little while, there's actually you just needed a lot, and then it went up to 5 acres, and now they talk about 2.5. And it really hadn't made much difference as far as the, houses going up or anything else. I was going to make mention of something that, so the county's trying to cut back on special use permits in the county, but then they're requiring some ag entities to get special use permits for businesses. I found that a little bit interesting.
So this question would be to you, Mr. Knoll. If the county commission attorney said that the county will attempt to resolve its public safety concerns with the hosting of agritourism farm outside of the zoning and hand use regulations, what does that mean to you as a board member?
You have to repeat that one. I don't understand that one.
If the county commission attorney said that the county will attempt to resolve its public safety concerns with the hosting of agritourism farm outside of the zone and hand use regulations, what does that mean to you as a board member? And if I'm not stating that correctly,
Zoning and land use
zoning and land use
regulations, yeah.
Okay.
So
Well-
outside the zoning and land use regulations, is what the county attorney said. And what is outside the zoning and land use regulations?
What is outside the zoning land use regulation? Yeah, repeat that one more time.
Can you just ask the question and we'll cut through the chase? We'll deviate. First time we deviated, but
Okay, I got a response here from the county counselor. And it says, thank you, addressed to the legal counsel of the Kansas Department of Agriculture. And it says, thank you, this is from the county counselor, thank you for your quick and helpful response to the county's inquiry. the county will attempt to resolve its public safety concerns with the hosting parties of agritourism events outside of the zoning and land use regulations. As a commissioner, would you agree with what the county councilor said or not?
I don't think if you're an ag and hosting winery events, things like that, you need a special use permit. You don't need one.
Well, I read you what the Department of Commerce says. They say that you have to follow the rules and the regulations. They say you have to follow the zoning. We have been encouraging agritourism in the county, but I will tell you one thing, we will not, if I'm a commissioner, I will not support putting in electrical car chargers and paving people's roads with county funds. I'm not gonna subsidize or agree to subsidize these entities that are private businesses. They are private businesses. They are responsible for their own development. The county, our responsibility is to encourage the development, to encourage you to locate here, to encourage you to do business here, to make it a good environment and a good place to do business. Our responsibility is not to subsidize you.
I have a question on the agriculture, with the regulations. There isn't any regulations in there about agriculture, so how does that fall?
Can you, I'm sorry,
Why don't you write that question down?
Okay.
And we will send it to them after and have them respond. So this is, from one individual, there's 3 different questions. And so, Commissioner, what are the plans for dust abatement and where will the funds come from?
Well, we've done 7. Well, let me start this. We've done $7 million worth of paved in place roads, which are part of the 7 phases of dust abatement. $7 million of pavement. $4 million of that $7 million is in southern Leavenworth County. So I will tell you, we have over 700 miles of dirt and rock road. So is everybody going to get the road paved? No. It's just not possible. And by the way, I have a white truck and my wife has a maroon vehicle, and I'm the only commissioner that lives out on a dirt road, and I do appreciate the issues on the roads, and I do everything I can to keep pounding the bill. We got to get these roads fixed. We got to do, and we've had issues with that. But that all being said, we need to, we paved roads, but right now the priority has shifted. Our CIP now, we're gonna try to get County Road 30 paved. We're looking at where there's safety issues on roads, and I'm not supposed to say safety issues, I'm supposed to say what's the word? Accident prone. Yeah, we're not supposed to say dangerous roads, we're supposed to say accident prone roads. Where the accident prone, there's 3 roads, and am I out of time? I don't want to hit. No, there's 3 road Tonganoxie Road, 158th Street where the Elm Grove Church is, up to Metro, and one down by Golden Road, the 3 most accident-prone areas. We identified those. We asked for traffic light study at that location, and we now have work going on with KDOT matching funds, and I could go into that if we have time.
So what are the plans for dust abatement and where will the funds come from?
Well, I'm not in that position yet, so.
Okay. What is your position on the sand pit?
My position on the sand pit, that is it seems to be a mess right now. And that's my position on it.
Did you support it?
I'm on the northern side of the county, up there in 5th District.
You're going to be representing the southern part of the county.
Go ahead.
I absolutely did not support. I mean, I have to be careful how I say it because it's in litigation. But I can say this: I supported the law, and the law says that according to the character of the neighborhood, I do not believe that the sand pit fit into the southern Leavenworth community, and I did everything I could to keep that from happening. And if I am reelected as your commissioner, I will continue to fight that. And I will tell you this, we don't have a sand pit yet, folks. And we won the case with Judge King. It went to the Court of Appeals on the 13th. I think we're going to win that. And then it'll eventually probably go to the Kansas Supreme Court. But I'll tell you what, they want the taxpayer to be on the hook for those roads. They want the taxpayer, they're going to put 110 trucks a day on those roads, Loring Road, and then they want the taxpayer, it's just like some of these other things, they want the taxpayer to take up the slack. And I said, absolutely not. If you put that many trucks on the road, you're going to pay the impact fee, you're going to pay for the road, you're going to upgrade that road because you're going to destroy our road and you're going to turn around and sue us because you want the taxpayer to pay for it. I'll tell you what, it's not right, and no, absolutely not.
What did the county do? What is the county going to do on the dog food with all the trucks that are coming in and out of there?
Are you asking me a question?
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay, so you said that the county never gives abatements.
I want to follow our procedure here.
Last question here. Commissioner, what did you do after the tornado?
Let's get that question out of there because it's supposed to be directed at a question that both of them can ask.
An answer, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that is it for the questions. We'll now turn it over for 3 minutes each for concluding
Did
remarks.
anybody else get a chance to ask the question? I mean, who picked the people to ask the questions? I didn't get asked.
That's what we said. The event started at 6:30, we're ending at 7:30. Any unanswered questions will be on, I'm going to explain that at the end. And you can ask them anything you want after this too.
Okay. All right.
I think I went first at the beginning, I think.
Okay, Mr. Mel?
There's a lot of controversy on the comp plan because it's the same comp plan that we've had for the past 30 years, different numbers, and this is the results we've had: higher taxes and bigger government. Everything that I'm not in favor of. The county says it doesn't give abatements, but it gives money to LCDC, and LCDC gives the abatements, so they do give abatements. The agritourism is a chance that we can keep a small town feel and yet still grow without getting into the commercial and industrial development, which is in the comp plan. And that's what they're pushing in houses. I've went to his town halls, I've heard him, I know what he's saying. And to agritourism for him was not that big of a deal until I entered the race. And the numbers make sense.
Well, I would be honored if you would support my reelection. I have worked really hard to represent your conservative values. We fought against the mandates. We fought against big government. We fought against the Biden administration and their intrusion and their vaccine mandates. We've done everything we can to fight. But I can tell you one thing that concerns me is when I ran for county commissioner, I prepared. I came to the commission meetings. I came to the work session on the budget. I talked to Janet Kuzinski for 2 hours about the budget, how the budget preparation is made. And I asked Ms. Kuzinski, and I visited with county administrator To this date, my opponent hasn't gone and talked to the county administrator or the county clerk about the budget process. There's a lot more to being a county commissioner than agritourism. And I have supported agritourism. But I can tell you, there are multiple issues that are involved. And one of the things, after the tornado, I made a lot of connection to this district. I feel like I have friends in this district, and they know they don't always agree with me. They know that I'm trying to work for them. They know that I call them. They know that I'm reaching out and trying to do my best to represent you and serve you. But I am not going to bend, and I'm not going to subsidize any business in the county. And I mean it. You can throw me out of office, you can get rid of me, because I stand for representing you, and I'm not going to subsidize business. But I would appreciate your vote. I'm going to do everything I can to represent our district.
Hey, I just want to close up here real quick. There's some confusion, I think. If we missed a question for the audience, we didn't get all of our panel member questions asked because we wanted to move on to get those of you who are in attendance your question asked. We'll go through and make sure we got them. And we will email these to Commissioner Stephen and candidate Knoll and ask them to return them to us no later, sometime Sunday evening, so we can post them on our website Monday, and you will be able to go to our website and see their responses to our unanswered panel questions. And this gentleman here was saying we didn't get his question asked, so you can either write it down and give it to me, and we'll ask it, and they can answer it. And as long as it's within our guidelines, it's not an attack on either candidate or something like that. Or you'll be able to walk up to each of them man to man and look them in the eye and ask your question, whatever you prefer. So that goes for everybody. We've got 30 minutes now to engage these candidates on whatever question you have. But before we start that, I would just like to give a round of applause for both of these candidates. For attending, because it speaks highly of both of you, so thank you. And that concludes the formal portion of our event.